The F-150 is a big selling icon, sure, but along with that comes a big target on your back. Dodge and Chevy trucks are not slouches. Let's drive the 2011 F-150 Lariat and check the tech. Ford has doubled down on tech in recent years, but is that really a big deal in a full-size truck, or kind of forcing the issue? Well, they sent us a Lariat, which is mid to high trim, with four-wheel drive and an extended cab, but also Sync, the old-school version that we kind of miss.
First thing you notice about getting in the F-150, since we don't review many trucks, is this is nice and roomy. I mean, I cannot reach the door by you. There is no way without climbing up here into the console or something. You don't get vehicles this big unless you're in a full-size body-on-frame truck. Now, we're in a Highline vehicle here. This is a Lariat edition. It's about midway up the F-150 line, which is a really big family. Nice, elaborate, really Lincoln-looking gauges. I'd expect those more in a higher-end vehicle than even a Ford. Lots of ersatz wood trim all over here. Notice the navigation head unit, which is optional, but it's the old-school Sync, right before they went to the My Ford Touch era of Sync, and things got real complicated and weird. The map quality isn't the best. It's kind of crunchy, but you know what? It sure is easy to use this thing. The buttons that pop up are all real clear. A combination of software buttons here, hardware buttons for major features. Of course, this truck has Sync at this trim level. That would mean you've got the USB jack here, the aux right next to it, of course. You can plug in a Zune if you still have one of those antiquities, or more importantly, you can plug in a thumb drive or your white iPod or iPhone cable. But if I just upgraded the audio system and didn't go for the nav, you can do a Sony system that gives you 700 watts. There's the amp sitting down there under the rear seat. 10 speakers around the cabin, and you get a 6-disc instead of a single slot. And we've got a backup camera as part of an optional package on this vehicle. As you can see, it doesn't show trajectory, it shows distance. And you do have a digital zoom here that kind of basically crops into the image. It's not really zooming anything with a physical lens, so it's of limited use, I think. And the camera quality is a little soft on this one. I only point that out because if you ever need a backup camera, it's in a vehicle like this where you've got a bed and a high tailgate in these F-150s. So there's a lot of stuff back there that's going to be hiding, like, you know, a family of 5 is possible. One choice on the gearbox in this guy, you've got a 6-speed automatic with this big old manly shifter right here. You got a little shifting rocker on the side, no paddles in a vehicle like this. And notice all these off-road instruments here I have. Again, something unique to a pickup truck. We'll see how these work when we're on the road, but they show the angle of the truck this way as well as this way, and give you some indication of what your drivetrain's doing because we have 4-wheel drive. Here's the knob for that. It's electrically selectable from 2 high to 4 high, which you can do on the fly, and then 4 low, of course, you got to be in neutral for that. Now, the interesting part of our F-150 is the way the engine bay is equipped. If I can get up here and see it, there it is, 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6. That means it's a turbo, direct injection V6, a real high-tech one. They also have a low-tech V6, not too exciting. And this gives you the power of a V8, they claim, with the economy of a 6. Well, let's sort it out. 365 horsepower, 420 foot-pounds of torque, while delivering 1521 mpg in this 4x4 big boy. Add 1 mpg on city and highway to go 4x2. Comparing that to the V8, the 5-liter you'd normally expect in an F-150, it looks like this.
The EcoBoost motor has 5 more horses and a crucial 40 more foot-pounds of torque while delivering a modest economy bump of 1 to 2 mpg.
Now notice I didn't mention anything silly like 0 to 60 times and such. That doesn't matter much in a pickup compared to what does. Payload and towing capacity. Looks like this.
The V8 truck has a wider range of towing weights, but the maximum is virtually the same as the EcoBoost V6 model, and the payload max is identical between the two powertrains.
Now, one thing we don't get much chance to talk about here in CNET car videos are things like bed length and cab size, but in this case, we do. 5.5, 6.5, or 8-foot boxes available on the F-150, and then you can couple that variably with 3 different cabs. The standard cab with just the front row of seats, pretty rare these days unless you're driving a service truck. Then you've got the extended cab and the Super Crew. We have the one in the middle, the extended cab. And by the way, all of those are available with this kind of slick power back window. It's a little small, but it serves the purpose. Gives you some nice ventilation, or lets your buddies use it as a trash receptacle for their PBR or Marlboro empties. Underway, the first thing you notice, especially since you're aware this thing has a V6, is how does the power come on? And you just simply, to my feel anyway, wouldn't notice that it's without a V8. Now, I'm not towing anything, I don't have it loaded up, so maybe it behaves differently under those conditions. But as a driver, with normal passengers and maybe a few lightweight things in the back, it's a good feeling engine. The ride in these high-trim F-Series is really compliant, even though we're still dealing with a, old solid axle rear leaf suspension. I'm looking here at these road gauges. I'm going up a windy hillside road here, and it's giving me, within a degree, its read on my attitude and my angle here in terms of Another impression I can leave you with is if you're not a truck driver, you find out real fast these things are a pain in the ass. When you're driving in, in a town or in a city, unless you're out in Walmart land, these are a drag to park, they're a pain to get around garages. I know a lot of folks drive these in urban settings. They must have the patience of a saint, because I kind of got over it pretty quick. And of course, as always, whenever we have a truck in, which isn't that often, I'm a little sad I didn't have anything I needed to haul this week. It's always nice to have a truck and not have to go pay $80 a day. Okay, let's price our big boy. An F-150 Lariat is $35,500. It's mid to mid-high in the trim range, so you're getting a lot of niceties, as you saw. This is no cable installer's truck. Now, some things you're going to add to that tech-wise. $2,500 for that navigation head unit. I would pass at that price and just get a damn clamp for my Android phone, but that's your call. $435 for the Sony audio. That's a worthy one. Oh, bear in mind, you don't need to add anything to get sync in this vehicle. It will come with it, but with a more basic sort of a blue dot matrix display, and of course no navigation or hard drive. Now, the big hardware, the stuff we don't normally talk about in cars because they're kind of truckish, include things like drivetrain and engine. You're going to pay more for less in this car. What I'm talking about is the V6. The EcoBoost V6 is $750 more above the base 5-liter V8. $3,270 to go 4x4 on this guy, and as I noted, with the EcoBoost motor, you only give up one MPG city and highway. And a couple of truck-only configuration options to consider. 6.5 or 8-foot bed, those are a pick at the same price, which is to say they're included. If you want the shorty, the 5.5 bed, that's actually like $2,500 more, and you'll pay about that much as well if you want to go for the big cab. If you want to go for the small cab or this extended cab, that's also a pick at the same price.